Hi EDEXCEL GCSE business students. This video is super useful for you to watch prior to paper 2. It includes topic areas that you could devote a little more time to in your revision. Do not solely focus on these topics in the video, revise all that is required for paper 2. But if you spend a little extra time on these topics and they do come up, then hopefully you're smiling throughout the exam. Globalization. You could be assessed on globalization in your paper 2 exam. Be aware of what globalization is and make sure you can explain the impact of globalization. For example, if you're asked to explain the impact of increasing globalization, you could consider points such as the business would face more competition, or there would be an opportunity to sell goods and services to more markets, and you would need to have knowledge of what this would lead to. If the question is in section B or C, where you have case studies, and you're asked, for example, to analyse the impact of increasing levels of globalisation, then you need to ensure you link your answer to the case study to gain those application marks too. Barriers to international trade is also part of globalisation. You should look out for and ensure you know the impact of tariffs on a business and their customers. Make sure you're able to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of tariffs too. One advantage is that tariffs bring increased revenue to the government. However, when tariffs are applied to imported goods, they become more expensive. Trade blocks is an area that falls under globalization that you should look out for. This is another barrier to international trade. Remember, trade blocks are where groups of countries have an agreement to work together to provide special deals when trading. Make sure you can discuss the advantages and disadvantages of trade blocks. The other aspects of globalization, such as imports, buying goods from overseas, and exports, selling goods to overseas markets. You may be asked to outline an example of an import or export within a case study. Just ensure you know the difference between imports and exports. Business growth. When it comes to business growth, you have internal organic growth, and that is where a business would decide to expand by launching new products and or entering new markets. And you have external or inorganic growth, and that is where a business would expand and grow via mergers and takeovers. You could be assessed on your knowledge of internal and external growth. These could easily be in section A questions, where you need to identify either internal or external methods of growth in multiple choice questions. You should also know the advantages and disadvantages of internal growth and external growth, as the questions could be bigger mark questions too. It could appear as a big mark question such as a 12 marker, where you're required to evaluate the impact of a merger or a takeover on a particular company. Ethics, the environment and business. Know the topic area of ethics and the environment really well. Ethics is about doing the right thing, and businesses acting in a socially responsible way. Most business activity involves workers, suppliers and customers. So if a business is behaving ethically, then they may be paying their workers a fair wage and allowing flexible working. When it comes to suppliers, they might be treating them ethically by ensuring that they are paying them on time. And when it comes to customers, they might treat their customers ethically by ensuring that they are open and honest with customers and not trying to sell them items they do not need. However, there is a trade-off between ethics and profit, and you need to be aware of that, as when a business acts in an ethical way, this generally increases the costs for a business, which in turn would reduce their profits. You should ensure you have a good understanding of environmental considerations and advantages and disadvantages of this. For example, when a business is considerate of the environment, it is likely that they will pay less fines, and it is likely that they would have an improved reputation. Organizational structures. Review organizational structures and make sure you know about the hierarchical and flat structures. Know the advantages and disadvantages of these structures. Key terms some students get slightly confused about are centralized and decentralized organizations. Don't get caught out here. A centralized organization is typically where decisions are made from head office or by senior management, and this could be in regards to the store layout and the menu, the choice of products offered to customers. That would all be decided by the head office or senior management. Make sure you know the reasons and benefits for this. For example, When it comes to the likes of McDonald's, they have specific rules and requirements when handling and preparing food, and that is decided by head office. For example, head office require that each burger has the same number of gherkins, and that is a requirement for each McDonald's store. They all have to abide by this. It is centralized. Decentralized organizations are typically when the departments within the business have the authority to make their own decisions. Make sure you know the advantages and disadvantages of decentralized organizations too. A decentralized organization question could easily appear in section A, and it could be multiple choice or an explain or even a 6 marker. It is very likely that a communication question will appear in section A in your paper. It could appear in other sections, but it might appear in section A. Know the benefits of effective communication and the barriers to communication, like jargon, technical language in a business. Ensure that you can analyze this so you know what it will lead to, such as mistakes taking place at work, as employees may misunderstand the task because it hasn't been communicated well, or there's been a barrier to communication. And overall, staff will feel demotivated. Job, batch and flow production. Know about the different types of production processes, job, batch and flow production, the advantages and disadvantages of them, and the impact that they have. These types of questions could appear in section A and likewise in section B and C. If they do appear in section B and C, make sure you can relate this to the case study. You may be asked to analyze the benefit or drawback of how a particular production process, such as job production, is used by a business. Be prepared to answer questions on the marketing mix, product, price, promotion, or place. Now, when it comes to product, ensure you know the elements of the design mix, cost, aesthetics, and function. These types of questions could appear as multiple choice questions, where they want you to select either one or two answers and decide and identify which ones are the elements of the design mix. So it's important that you know what the elements are. You might even be asked to explain for a 3-mark question why cost, aesthetics, or function are important to a business. The question might appear in section A, as I said, or if it appears in section B or C, make sure you can identify the element of the design mix being referred to. For the product lifecycle, you need to have a good understanding of the stages. Ensure you can identify them. Know how a business could extend the product lifecycle, such as changing the price, lowering the price, will allow more customers to buy the products. There could be other strategies such as changing the promotion that could also extend the product lifecycle, using different advertising or sales promotions to gain additional sales, and also extending the product lifecycle by using other elements of the marketing mix as well. Price. In regards to pricing, do be aware of the impact of a business using low prices and high prices. Businesses might set a low price in order to achieve high volume of sales, however they may get a low profit margin. Businesses that sell luxury goods tend to set a high price for their products or services. When businesses set the price for a product and it's high, they might get a low volume of sales, but at a high profit margin. So you could be assessed on a big mark question in regards to pricing. Promotion. Promotion could be an area that you're assessed on. And we know that this is how the business creates an interest in its products and services among its customers and the potential customers it could gain. So you need to know about advertising, sponsorships, product trials, special offers, and branding, which can be used to increase interest to a business's products. You could be assessed on methods of distribution, and this involves where the customer is able to purchase the product from, such as a retail store, online, or directly from the manufacturer. Ensure you review the terms retailer and e-tailer. Remember, a retailer is a business that sells products and services to the public, and they often have a physical store. And an e-tailer sells products and services to customers online. Working with suppliers. Bar gate stock graphs might be on your exam. You need to ensure you can interpret a bar gate stock graph. This includes knowing about the lead time, buffer stock, minimum stock level, maximum stock level, and buffer stock. Knowing about a business's relationship with suppliers is an area that you could be assessed on. You need to remember the 5 key elements that businesses will need to consider from building relationships with suppliers. These are quality, delivery, which includes cost, speed, and reliability, availability, cost, and trust. You should also be aware of the advantages of a business having a good relationship with its suppliers. You may be assessed on this element.